In today's class, I'm going to be showing you how to make this beautiful casual two-piece. It's a agbada top or a bubu top and a baggy short with side pocket. It is very easy and very beautiful, as you can see. Hello, if you are seeing me for the first time, my name is Jua. I'm an online tutor, and thank you so much for those that have subscribed. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do also hit the subscribe button, like this video so it can reach a wider audience. We'll start by folding our fabric into four. We'll be cutting the agbada top first before cutting the baggy knicker. So now we'll fold our fabric into four. I've already determined the length of the fabric that I'm using from my shoulder to the length of my sleeve. So I'll be using the whole of this fabric plus 1 inch stitch allowance to fold the sleeve. So for my neck width, I'm using 3 inch for my neck width. So since I'm cutting the back first, I'm drafting the back bodice first, so I will go down by 1 inch for my back neckline. So for my sleeve, I'm going to go down for my sleeve opening, I'm going to go down by 10. So I want it that wide. It's a free top, it's an agbada top that you call, that is also known as bubu gown. It's more like a bubu gown. So I want this sleeve to be wide enough. So I'm going to notch that place. You make sure you grab the whole 4 pieces and notch it. So for my shirt now, for the front part of my shirt, I'm just going to go down by 2 inch. I'll mark 2 inch downwards. Then I'll now connect it to meet my neck width of 3 inch. I'll just connect it like this to meet the 3 inch neck width. That will be for my front body. So now I'll first cut the back neckline like this. When I'm done cutting it, then I'll now separate the I will separate the back bodies from the front. Since we are cutting the front and back together, I'm going to separate one from it like this, open it up before cutting the front neckline. So now after properly aligning it, I'll just cut that 2 inch downwards and open it like this. So the pieces I cut off, when you open it off and measure it, you are going to have exactly 4 inch. So this is what it looks like after cutting the front neckline up. So I'm now going to measure round to see the strap I'm going to cut, how long it's going to be. I'll measure it round. So after measuring it, now it's time to cut our strap. So for our strap, I'm going to cut it. It's folded into two, so I'm going to be cutting 2.5 because we'll use ½ inch to stitch it to our body. So I'll cut 2.5 inch like you see me doing. Don't forget to like this video so it can reach wider audience, please. So after cutting our strap, when you leave it unfold like this, it is 5 inch. When you fold it into two, it is 2.5. So I'm going to fold our strap into two like this, right side facing each other. I'll align it properly, pin it together if you have to. Then how I want my neck depth to be was that I place my tape rule round my neck like you are wearing a necklace to how I want it to be opened. So now I'm just going to mark it like this. So after marking it, so I'm now going to now align it properly, make sure it is well aligned. Then I'll now mark the midpoint, which is 2.25, right? Sorry, 2.5. I'll just mark 2.5, 2.5, which is the midpoint of 5. The half of 5 is 2.5. So I've just measured it round like this. Then I'm now going to stitch that 2.5 downwards. I'll stitch on top of that 2.5 downwards. So when I'm done, this is what it looks like. How I opened it up, this is where I stitched. Obviously this is where I stitched. So after stitching it, I just open one side up like this, and you are going to get this. So you iron it also, you are going to get this. That's the opening for my neck. So I'm going to locate the midpoint like this. I will locate the midpoint and notch it. If you have any question, you can leave it in the comment section. I'll answer you immediately. So I'm going to notch it. I'll also locate the midpoint of my back neckline like this and also notch it. So after notching it like this, so now I'm going to place that notched part. I'll place the two notched parts together like this. I'll align it together like this and pin it. So after pinning it, now I'm now going to align one side of my strap and pin it downwards like you see me doing. I'll pin one side of that strap and pin it downwards. Now I'm now going to head over to my sewing machine and sew it down. So I'm going to sew it down and also sew the other side. I'll sew it round basically, and this is what it's going to look like. It's going to look this neat and fine. So if you got into this part, you are 70% done with the sewing of this boo top. You are 70% in. If you can sew this top, that means you can also sew a boo gown perfectly. If you can sew this top and you get it, you can also sew a boo gown. So now that notched part in our sleeve, that place that we notched when we came down by 10 and notched it, we are going to look for that spot that we notched. Then we'll now fold it with a 1 inch stitch allowance. We are going to fold it like this to meet the other side of that we notched, and this is what it's going to give us, this clean side. So we will fold both side. When we are done folding, we are now going to now align it like this, like you see me doing. Carry your chalk if you have to, then you will now make a line of just ½ inch. Just mark it like this and just stitch it round. You also stitch the other side. So when I'm done, I'll also end my top. I'll end the down part of my top. Now it's time to sew this beautiful short. It has a pocket and a band. It is very beautiful and comfy. If you can sew this short, you can also sew a long one. That is basically it. So I'll start by folding my fabric into two. Then I'll mark the starting point of ½ inch. So this will serve as our starting point, like a guide. Please don't forget to hit the like button for me. So that starting point line, that's where all our vertical measurement is going to start from. Our band is 1.5 inch, so we are going to place that 1.5 inch on top of our starting line of ½ inch. So then we'll go down to the full length of our short of 14 inch. My short is 14 inch long. Then the 2 inch stitch allowance that we use to hem our short. So we are just going to roll it down. After rolling it out, now to get our crotch line, we are going to place that 1.5 inch of our band on top of our starting point, go downwards to get our crotch line. How I got mine was that I sat on a flat surface, marked from my waist downwards to the ground. Then whatever you get, you are going to add either 1 inch or 1.5 for ease allowance, because it's a free short. So we add 1.5 inch, then after getting that, then you go upwards by 2 inch to get your hip line. Get your crotch line, add 1.5 or 1 inch, then you go upward by 2 inch to get your hip line. Then we are now going to just roll it out like you see me doing. That's the easiest way and the most accurate way to get your crotch line. That is if you don't know your crotch line yet. So now we've gotten our starting point, hip line, crotch line, short length and all. Now it's time to get the horizontal measurement. All our measurement will be divided into 4. So now for our hip measurement, we are going to divide our hip into 4 and add extra 3 inch allowance for ease. That will serve as our ease because it's a free short, it's a baggy short. So that 3 inch is going to give that baggy effect. So my hip divided by 4 is 9.5 plus that 3 inch. I'm just going to rule it from my crotch line upwards to my waist. So now for my crotch extension, how I got that, my hip divided by 4 is 9.5. That 9.5, I'll also divide it by 4. So I got around 2.25. So I'm just going to place it as my crotch extension. So I'm just going to now curve it like you see me doing to meet it like this. So that will be all for the drafting of the front. So I'm just going to roll it downwards like this, connect it to meet the full length of my short. So So I'm just going to cut it off. Then I will use this to cut the back. If you will not like this video, please do well to like and subscribe to this channel so you can see more of my videos where there's I post. So now I will use one of this piece to cut the back. So I'm going to place it on top of another fabric that is folded into two. I will place it like this, like you see me doing in the video. So while drafting the back of our shirt, the back is usually wider than the front bodies. So we are going to extend our crotch extension by 2.5 inch based on our front crotch extension of 2.5 inch, making the back front crotch extension is 5 inch put together. Then while this side we are going to add 2 inch to meet that our crotch extension. That will serve for our stitch allowance, every other thing. So added extra to 2 inch. Why this upper part we now came up by 1 inch, but if you have a bigger board you can make yours 1.5 inch. Mine I just did 1 inch. You can see that I'm not that heavy on my waist. So I'm just going to connect it to meet my side like this. Just connect it like a dart, then you cut it off. That's basically how you cut your back bodies. Just more allowance, that's all you need. So now it's time to cut the pocket. So for our pocket I'm going to be cutting 4 pieces. I'll fold it like this to get 4 pieces. So I'll come back down to how wide I want the pocket opening to be, which is 7 inch. Then I'll place my hand like this. This is the easiest method to cut pockets like this. So I'll just cut it round. You can see I still put allowance. I didn't cut exactly my hand size. I still put allowance. So I'm just going to open it. Then you see I have four of those pieces. Four. Now I'll show you how to place it to your short. So now I'm going to place it like this, right side facing each other. You can see that is the right side that is facing each other while the wrong side is facing my camera, right? So at the upper part I left ½ inch. That ½ inch is going to serve of course as my stitch allowance. That will serve as my stitch allowance. So I'm just going to pin it down. That is the stitch allowance to my band. So this is what it looks like. I did for the whole 4 parts of the body, meaning both the front short and the back short has a pieces on them. You can see how I stitch them. So now I'm going to place the back pieces and the back pieces together well aligned. Then I'll sew it like this. I'll also do for the front side. I will place it like this, neatly like this, stitch it around. That is after stitching my pieces for my pocket. This is what it looks like. You can see this is what they look like. So now I'm now going to place them like this, right side facing each other. You can see, make sure it is well aligned, pin it if you have to. Then I'll now sew it round like you see me demonstrating in the video. Sew it round, and I'll also do for the other side. And I'll also close this my crotch side. I'll close it, stitch it round with just ½ inch. So after doing that, this is what it looks like. You can see it came out very nice, and our pocket is looking so fine. You can see this is what our pocket looks like. See, it's neat and perfect. So now I'm going to show you how to attach your band to your short. So first off, we are going to measure round. This will determine how long the strap for our band is going to be. We'll measure the short round, and I've gone ahead to cut the strap. I've sew it like I've closed the side, and I've not folded it into two, just a long strap, and unfold like this. How long it is 3 inch, 4 inch long, sorry, it is 4 inch long, and when you fold it into two it is 2 inch, meaning I'm going to be attaching it with ½ inch. After attaching it with ½ inch, then I'm now going to close the seam with the other side. I'll now turn it over and close it with the other side, leaving a very small opening like this. That's where the elastic is going to pass through. So for my elastic, my waist is 28, so I minus 2 inch from my waist. Then I'm going to just cut cut what I have left. So I'm going to use, with the help of safety pin, pass it round. While passing it, make sure that you are using your hand to arrange it so that it doesn't squeeze inside. So when you are done, you are going to align it like this on top of each other and stitch on top of. So my camera was not recording while I was doing that. So what I did was that I stretched my fabric first, then I pin it. I stretch it first. When the band is already inside, I pinned before I started sewing. This will help distribute that stretchy side evenly. So I head over to my sewing machine, still stretching it. I sew. When I get to where the pin is, I remove it. Then I stretch it again. Make sure I stretch it completely. Then I stitch on top of it like this. When I'm done stitching round, I'm now going to go downward a bit with just half an inch. Then I'll still make another stitch, stretch it. I'm going to stretch it like this. Then I will still stitch it round. Then when I'm done, I'm now going to hem the down of my short. That will be all for this tutorial.